What's up, YouTube? This is G-Man coming at you from Cyberbeggar. Coming at you with part 22 of my response to Robert Sungenis, Kent Hovind, Flat Earth, Flat Wrong. Okay, let's dive in. Dive right in.
They will go. Of course, there's a giant worldwide conspiracy amongst all these nations to hide the flat Earth from us. And the most ridiculous thing is this whole thing about Antarctica. The Antarctica, as you know, is a continent.
No, it's not ridiculous. Nobody is flying over Antarctica. You cannot book a plane and fly from one side of the continent of Antarctica to the other, if it were a continent. It's not a continent, though. You cannot book a plane and just go across. You cannot get some dog sleds and just trek your way across Antarctica. Antarctica is cold. It's cold. But it's just like being up in the north. Alaska gets cold too. I don't think that Antarctica gets too much colder than Alaska. Especially on the polar ice caps and that sort of thing. Well, I mean on mountain, not polar ice caps. I mean on mountains and that sort of thing, and glaciers and stuff like that. I mean, it gets cold up there, and people live up there pretty far up, pretty close to the North Pole, but they don't live that close to the North Pole. It's still nobody. It's like, I wonder in the North Pole how far you can go before there's a circle close enough to the North Pole where nothing lives there. Now, there's a lot of conspiracy about the North Pole too, that they might be hiding something at the North Pole also, which is a very interesting subject of conversation. So, all right, let's move on.
Right? But if you use the azimuthal map, what the azimuthal map does is it flattens out the Earth like peels, and the only place you can put Antarctica is on the outer rim of the disk. They believe that Antarctica is really a 75,000-mile circumference ice wall. And
now, let's not laugh at this so quickly, because from what I have learned, there is the azimuthal equidistant map, and it is a map that was created 1,000 years ago by a guy named Biruni. I don't know the full name, but it was created 1,000 years ago by a guy named Biruni. So, and this azimuthal equidistant map is put into a lot of use. Is put into use by captains of ships, and it's actually they really do use it to help with navigation sometimes. I don't know to what extent. I do not know to what extent, but it's pretty interesting. So, and the way he's talking is about it is like he doesn't even know this, All right, let's move on.
Yeah, when Byrd and Cook and everybody went down to Antarctica, they ran into this ice wall. They'll show you pictures of an ice wall, and that is a real picture. But it's only of Cook Island in Antarctica, but they make it sound like it's a 75,000-mile ring around their disk, you see. So there's a lot of deception that goes on in photography with the flat earthers.
Yeah, so this ice wall thing, it's not necessary. I know it's not an ice wall. Not all the way around. Sometimes it's just a beach. They got shores, But I am convinced that Antarctica does encapsulate us. I am convinced that Antarctica is the rim of it. The Antarctica is the beach that holds in the water. It's the outer edge that contains the water here on the Earth. So, and why am I convinced of that? Because there's nobody who is documented to have ever crossed Antarctica from one coast to the other. You can cross the United States from one coast to the other, but nobody is. You can go to Africa, Asia. You know, you can cross from Europe to the other side of Asia. You can walk all the way around the northern hemisphere. Hemisphere, whatever. You can walk all the way around, coast to coast to coast to coast to coast. You can't do that with Antarctica. Of course, it's really cold down there, but why can't you at least book a plane? We have planes that could do it. Why can't you book a plane? A simple plane flight would end this flat earth movement. Just like that. If we could just put Mark Sargent or Rob Skiba or somebody on a plane that would just take them from one side of the Antarctica to the other side. You know? Maybe give them a tour of the full circumference of Antarctica. You know? It's just... And of course, they would have to be able to verify that they are in fact circling Antarctica. We would have to be able to verify that. But it's just, that's the reason that I don't believe that Antarctica is a continent anymore. And it's not at the bottom of a globe. It's a rim around the flat Earth. Nobody's ever been documented to cross it. We can't cross it today. We can't even go to Antarctica today. There's people going because if they're super rich, if they got a lot of money to spend, they just want to go to Antarctica for whatever reason, and for vacation reasons, tourist reasons. I mean, you can go to Antarctica and go to go see the traditional South Pole that they have down there, which isn't even the South Pole. All right, let's keep moving.
Oh yeah. Well, there's like there's 36 stations down there from various countries of the world. They've been there for years. You can go on the internet and sign up for a trip to Antarctica, and they will fly across Antarctica in 5 hours for about $15,000. I mean, it's just
fly across Antarctica in about 5 hours for about $15,000. There's nobody documented to do this. This is not documented. You can't, like I said, you can't put anybody on a plane and cross Antarctica from coast to coast. They won't let us verify that. If they did, this flat Earth movement would have been dead in a flash. Somebody would have booked a plane and gone across Antarctica. And that's it. The flat Earth movement would be ended. All right, let's get a move on. So what he's talking about here cannot be verified. Nobody's going and crossing Antarctica. For $10,000 or $15,000, you can go on guided tours. You can fly, over some of the coast of Antarctica. They're not going to let you fly over all of it because, if I remember correctly, it's about 70,000 miles if you're actually going to intend to fly over all of it around the flat Earth. So it's about 70,000 miles, something like that. So if you want to fly over all, they're not going to let anybody fly over all of it, but you can fly over a portion of it that they call the continent. Anyways, let's listen to some more.
It's just ridiculous. There's all kinds of evidence down there that people inhabit Antarctica.
If the Earth is flat and the sun and all the stars are circling around what? Is there a string holding them? I mean, there's phenomena called centrifugal force. There's simple laws of physics that they seem to completely ignore and violate. Is the sun going around in a circle? Why would it? Is it circling here and then the whole circle is moving here? And it is just completely confuses me that they can possibly believe the sun is hovering, and what is the anchor point for it? Anyway, explain that.
Well, what they do is their sun is not a sun that's going to radiate in a concentric circles, okay? Their sun basically is a little 27-mile diameter dot 3,000 miles above us that gives its light off in a cone shape, not in concentric circles, okay? And so this cone shape, as you can imagine, is when you get to the end of the cone that hits the Earth, it's only going to cover a certain region of the Earth. And as the sun moves, that cone is also going to move with it. And so that's where you get your time zones. Because, where it's 12 o'clock in New York City at noon, it's going to be 12 o'clock midnight in China. Well, in their model, China is in the shadow. It's not in the sun's cone. And so that's why New York City can have the sun and not China.
All right, on the globe Earth model, it's pretty easy for us to explain the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, the 23 and a half.
Going to come back in the next video with this next question. We're already at 11 minutes, 40 seconds. G-Man out.